I've always believed I live for art. The complexities of conveying emotions, small capsules of time in a single drawing, comprised of lines and colors on a page. It wasn't always that way. When I was 5, my parents forced me into an after-school art class. Looking back on it now, it was just a glorified babysitter. We younger kids barely learned anything in that class, and I dropped out by the age of 11. I continued to draw, day and night, mostly just small doodles of my passion and nothing people would consider quote-unquote real art. But to me, it was the start of my journey and appreciation of the medium. I picked up digital art during the pandemic. I would spend hours upon hours at my desk just sketching away on that tablet. I know some may argue that doesn't make me a real artist and that real artists would draw and paint on paper, but it still taught me the skills I possess now. On paper or on a screen, I still retain the same knowledge of how to draw. It's simply a matter of using different mediums. Now, to cut to the chase, if I love art so much, then why am I giving up on it? Why am I choosing culinary instead? Well, the answer isn't so simple. My whole life, I never felt adequate with my art. With each step of improvement, I could only see the road ahead, not behind. I could never celebrate my progress because I was too focused on becoming good enough at art. It's a struggle that many artists will face over their lifetime. However, its significance for me came last year, when I began portfolio prepping for college. In August of 2023, I found a tutor that would help me with improving my art and creating a portfolio for animation school. My whole life I've loved watching animated shows, and I wanted to work on one myself one day. When we first met, I remember walking in nervous, but proud of how far I'd come without any formal training. But she took one look at my work and said, "We have a lot to do." I think it messed with my confidence a bit. Being humbled at every twist and turn reminded that I should be proud of my art, but it still isn't good enough to get into animation school. It ruined my view of art in some ways. I had already been struggling with my mental health for a long time, just having been medicated for major depressive disorder. My mental health was at an all-time low, and I didn't even see a future for myself. On top of that, I had lost all my motivation to even do the bare minimum assignments. I would have full-blown breakdowns over not being able to finish another assignment. It would have been so easy, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I think a part of me was scared of disappointing again. I began having second thoughts by the end of my 11th year. I'd applied for the VCC Professional Cook 1 program on a whim out of advice from Miss Wang, and miraculously I got in. I didn't view it as something I would actually pursue, but as time went on, I found myself enjoying the little things about cooking more and more. It didn't have such a personal pressure like art did. Of course, I still strive to do my best, but the overwhelming weight of personal shame and worthlessness didn't arise when I made mistakes in the kitchen. At some point or another, I decided I was going to pursue culinary instead. Not forever, just until I was comfortable enough to pursue art again. Drawing and art had went from something I revolved my soul around to a subject enveloped in complexity. I still don't know how to feel towards my art. I'm still not as happy as I would like to be with my progress, but I recognize I've come a long way since I started. Maybe someday I'll be able to be proud again. I am thankful to both of my mentors, Lydia for staying with me despite the difficult student I was, and Miss Wang for encouraging me to join the chef program and for being an older mentor I could talk to about relatable problems. Both have been such supportive pillars in my artistic and culinary journeys, and I hope to keep in touch with them for the rest of my life. And so that brings us here today. I know that I'm technically going to be a cook in the near future. However, I still want my last project to be something art-related, as it's more important to me. There are times when I draw where I'll see glimpses of myself, the soul I put into my work. I never once stopped to wonder if I had ever been the subject of my endless sketching. but honestly, I can probably count on one hand the amount of times I've drawn myself. So here it is, me, myself.